Have you ever given any interview exams?
Well, you have, but you haven't given any interviews without any question, and in this movie, all 8 candidates in a room have been given a blank sheet without any question, and they have to find out the question and answer it within 80 minutes to get the job.
Now, how will they find the question, and who will qualify for this test that we will find out in our video today?
The movie starts, and we see 8 candidates are getting ready for a hiring examination for a profitable corporate job. Some candidates motivate themselves with encouraging words, while others add a few touch-ups to their appearances before moving to the examination hall. The place is dimly lit, with desks for every candidate kept uniformly throughout the room. It also has cameras to monitor their activities. After the 8 of them are seated, a guard with a gun enters the room, visibly making the candidates nervous. He is followed by a man who doesn't tell them his name and simply introduces himself as the invigilator. He then apologizes to them for the hardships they have faced to reach this room, revealing that they have passed all the previous processes and are the invigilator.
Who then is he?
The invigilator claims that no federal law applies inside the examination hall, and the candidates are supposed to follow only the law of the exam. They are not allowed to communicate with the guard or the invigilator. Similarly, if they ruin the paper intentionally or accidentally, or if they walk out of the room for any reason, they will be disqualified. The candidate will have 80 minutes to complete the test. There is only one question on the paper before them that they need to answer. The invigilator then asks them if they have any questions. When no one answers, he wishes them luck,
starts the timer, and walks out the candidates. They turn their respective papers around and see that they are completely blank.
All of them look at each other in confusion as time passes and they become more nervous. Hence, candidate number 2 starts writing on her paper why she thinks she is eligible for the job. The camera in the room zooms into her paper, and the guard is told to throw her out because she ruined her paper. As the guard locks the doors on her, prisoner number 2 begs for a second chance. A while later, number 5 realizes that the rule says they cannot talk to the invigilator and the guard, which means they can talk to each other. He tells the others the same thing, leading them to believe that they will have to work together to figure out what the question is before they can answer it. The group discusses several ways they can pass the test, but they are all just as confused. After that, White suggests they get up from their seats because there is no rule that says they cannot. He takes a chance and gets up to everyone's delight, while the guard stays put, meaning that they can move around freely. The brunette believes that the questions are written down on paper with invisible ink or a watermark. They all agree to test the theory but do not know how to. The brunette gets up and checks the paper in the light to see if anything is written on it, but nothing is visible. She still insists that everyone check their own because the question could be in just one of them. Everyone does as she says, except for the deaf man, who stays quietly in his seat. Black suggests the writings might be visible in ultraviolet or X-ray light. The group then starts looking for a switchboard to see if there is any option to turn on other kinds of lights. When they do not find one, they start to look for the source of such lights themselves, which Deaf doesn't help them whatsoever and nervously stays in his seat. Blonde finds strips of emergency lights in the room, but since there are no switches, the group has to break all the other light bulbs to create an emergency and trigger the lights. Brown retaliates, saying that they cannot take such a risk, so they vote on the matter and eventually decide to go forward with the plan. After breaking all the light bulbs in the room, it suddenly glows blue because of the emergency blacklight. Everyone starts to look for the question in the paper except the Deaf, but they are disappointed again because they cannot see the question. The brunette asks everyone to remove the first layer of the strip light because they aren't lit, and this might give rise to UV rays, which can help them. They use the woman's heels to break the strips and reveal another form of light. However, they are again met with disappointment because these lights do not work either. Now that the group only has 60 minutes left, a frustrated leader asks everyone to think of alternatives as they brainstorm ideas. White registers that they can do anything to number 2's paper since she is already disqualified, so they gather around her desk and try tracing the paper with a pencil.
Still, no question comes forth in White. They then tear her paper into sections so that they can use them to experiment with different methods. Next, he pees on one of the papers to see if it is liquid activated. However, that doesn't work on either the black or white ones. They get into a heated argument while discussing what they should do next, but they stop after hearing a deaf man cry and sob silently in his seat while the others watch him in amusement. After that, the man starts to blabber in French, asking them if they can see something in the paper and claiming that the paper reflects their image. They do not think much about his blabbering and get back to discussing ideas. Everyone falls dead silent when Brown speaks. He proposes a theory of his own,
claiming that they are not in an exam but are in some kind of betting show where the board members of the company have placed bets on who will crack under pressure, and the sole purpose of their being there is for their entertainment.
Brown has been watching Squid Games.
Brunick thinks that the board members probably have better things to do with their time, but according to Brown, money is the least of their concerns with the amount of money they have in their lives. The board members probably lie for the risks now that everyone has come forward with their own ideas. Some claim that the Invigilator might be behind this, while others say it might be the CEO.
They begin to crack under pressure and insult each other.
Dark confidently says that there are no people watching them because the CEO is hands-on in the company and has all the company's rights and power over everyone.
It is clear that she knows more about the company than anyone else.
Brown asks her how she knows so much about the CEO. It turns out that Dark is already working for the company in HR but has never seen the CEO. She applied for a higher job and now she is here. White then reveals that he was headhunted and offered the job, but the others say that they applied for it. However, one thing they have in common is that they do not know anything about the company or what it does because they were told not to ask any questions. Dark then explains that they are applying to a famous multi-million-dollar pharmaceutical company called B-Rog. A few years ago, when a pandemic spread among young people around the world, they were the first ones to find the cure. Currently, their yearly turnover is $20 billion, all because of their CEO. Suddenly, Black suggests that the company might have found a cure to the newest deadly disease that has been killing millions of people around the world.
Brunette is suddenly intrigued, and she asks Dark more about it.
This makes White suspicious, so he asks the brunette if she is also infected by the virus. The brunette says she isn't and dismisses the matter to take the attention off of herself. She approaches the guard and takes a lighter out of his pocket without talking to him. Then she glances at the fire alarm. The group plans to use the lighter to trigger the sprinkler because water can potentially develop the writing on the paper. For this, the brunette gets on top of a chair but doesn't reach the fire alarm. White assists her by giving her a rolled-up piece of paper that she lights up and uses to trigger the alarm.
Soon, water starts showering, but the papers remain the same.
Suddenly, the guard makes his way to the group. Then the brunette unfolds the paper in her hand and reveals it to be her own. The white had betrayed her to loosen the competition.
The guard drags the brunette away as she calls the white woman a bastard.
Black belittles White for being an awful person, but White insists they should thank him for getting their competitors out. He also claims that he knows what the question is but refuses to tell the others in a fit of rage. Black knocks him out with a single punch. The group then ties him to a seat and covers his mouth with a tie.
A while later, White gains consciousness.
Dark removes his gag, and he asks for his medication, saying that he is also infected with the virus and has to take medicine every hour for him to live.
Black searches for pills in his pocket but doesn't find any.
This makes the group believe that White is just making excuses so they will free him. But White claims that one of them has taken the pill and promises to tell them what the question is if they give it back soon.
He loses consciousness again and starts to tremble. Some believe he is faking, but Black says he is having a seizure because of the virus. With only 15 minutes left on the timer, they check each other for the pill.
Dark suspects Brown of taking it, and she is proven right when she finds the pill stuck to some chewing gum under his table. She tries to feed it to White, but Brown throws it in a vent as the others try to get it out. A stressed woman goes in front of the camera and asks the Invigilator to save the man, but since she talked to the Invigilator, she is immediately disqualified. After she is gone, Blonde brings the pill out with a bobby pin and saves White's life. She also unties him in the process.
White reveals that the answers are the candidates themselves.
They have been searching for an answer all this time, but White thinks that there is no answer and that the one who is left at the end is the answer.
The rest of them believe him, but before they can act, White runs to get the gun from the guard. Black pushes him aside and acquires the gun himself. He points it at White, who confidently claims that he won't shoot anyone simultaneously.
He attacks Black and gets the gun, but when he is about to use it, he realizes the gun has fingerprint recognition.
So White uses the guard and points the gun at the others. He threatens everyone to get out of the room on their own so he can win the position. Brown doesn't retaliate out of fear of being shot and deliberately walks out.
A scared Blonde slowly walks outside but yells lights out at the end, and the room goes pitch black, making White shoot in random directions. When the lights come back on, Black falls limp on the floor with a bullet hole in his chest. White looks around and sees that the Blonde still has a foot inside the room. He is about to shoot her as well but notices that the timer has stopped. White walks to the camera and tells the Invigilator that he is the winner of the competition.
The guard approaches him and shows him the time. White is in shock to see that they still have 20 seconds left, meaning that he is disqualified for talking to the invigilator. It is then revealed that the deaf person's behavior had changed. The time while they were busy discussing other things, at last the only one left is Blonde. She walks into the room and picks up Def's glasses that have fallen. While he was being taken out using those, she looked at the paper and saw question 1 written on it. To her utmost surprise, Def enters the room, revealing that he is the CEO of the company and was in the test to keep an eye on everyone. Blonde walks up to him and says no. The CEO and the invigilator smile, seeing that she has figured out the question and passed the test. It turns out that when the invigilator asked them if they had any questions at the beginning of the exam, that was the only question they had to answer. The whole exam was set up to test the candidate's intelligence and attentiveness. They hire her as the CEO's secretary. The invigilator reveals that Black isn't really dead and that the bullet he got hit with is a capsule that heals the wound after penetrating the body. It is actually the magical medicine they have recently manufactured, which can cure any disease in the world. At last, Blonde accepts the job and she shakes hands with the CEO. And the movie ends here. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and for more such videos, subscribe to the channel.